Good morning. This is a recording of the lecture that I did this past Wednesday, but it could not be recorded because of the issues with Moodle, and I got a link, etc., etc. For the persons that did not get to attend the lecture, I just want to do this recording. I hope that I don't have to do it next week again or the other week. I hope that this is the last of it and the Moodle thing is sorted out this week. Anyway. For Unit 2, we looked at relations and management. And in the previous week, we looked at the theories that lead to this point, or the original management theories. And a few newer ones will come up as we go along. But for this one, these are old theories as well, but they are related to the human relations side of things and not as stringent and strict and task-oriented and bureaucratic like the previous theories that we discussed in Unit 1. So for this week, we're looking at a positive work environment, the two motivational theories, coaching and mentoring, and personal effectiveness, and that kind of thing. So I want to go through the lectures, at a decent pace, but still as quick as possible so that you don't have to sit down and watch a lecture for 1 hour, because I know that can be difficult. All right, so what is a positive work environment? It is a workplace that promotes employee safety, their growth. It also promotes goal attainment. Now, these environments are most conducive to a successful workplace as they encourage employees to perform to their highest ability. Now, companies can achieve a positive work environment by focusing on their overall culture, supporting employee growth, and making employees feel safe and comfortable. And that entails a lot of things. How your employees interact with each other, if they're getting a decent salary, if they are recognized for the work that they do, etc., etc. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is employee morale and what that is. And I know you would have seen this in other courses that you do, like OB and that kind of thing. They look at, employee morale. The other course that is similar to this, kind of similar selected topics, I think we'll look at it in that course as well. So employee morale refers to the emotional well-being, job satisfaction, and overall attitude of individuals within an organization. It represents the collective sentiments, attitudes, and satisfaction levels that employees hold towards their work, their colleagues, the workplace, and the organization as a whole. So good morale means that employee satisfaction is high and people are generally engaged at work. And engaged just means that you have probably a good workload, you can manage your workload, you have your good work-life balance, you are good at what you do, etc., etc. You have good relationships with your co-workers, all of those things. Employee engagement involves all of those things. So employee morale is a blend of employees, their feelings, their expectations, and outlook that contribute to the basic feeling of satisfaction. The thing about satisfaction, though, is that as an individual, you have to decide what that satisfaction is for you. Employee satisfaction is not the same for everybody. Some persons can say, look here, that this is a job, I'm just doing this job to earn my money, I earn a good salary and I'm satisfied with that. Some persons want to go up the corporate ladder. Some persons want to just feel good at work every day. So the employee satisfaction can be different for everyone, but it still have some basic features. All right, so some of the basic features are going to be like good work-life balance, growth opportunities, optimistic thinking, the high employee morale, compassion and empathy towards people, transparent and honest communication in the work environment, a productive environment without pressure. And this is a hard one to achieve because most work environments feel very pressured. There's always an emergency, there's always so much to do. And also sometimes some members of staff just have a heavier workload than others. So, it's just striking a balance between these things that will create a positive, an overall positive work environment. So what are some benefits of a positive work environment? Job satisfaction, you decrease employee turnover, less people would want to leave. You're attracting better people to the organization because you build a reputation. You're building engagement among your staff. Salaries are competitive. It means that if you leave this and go somewhere else, you're not necessarily going to get a better salary. And it increases overall it increases employee productivity, which goes to the bottom line, the company making more money and can, you know, spend some more money on their staff, etc., etc. All right, so now we are going to look at the motivational theories. You know these two theories. You're probably more familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs because it's a very common or popular theory. And then you might know about the Hertzberg two-factor theory. So for the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's on a hierarchy. So it is saying that you have to satisfy your basic needs and then you go up the ladder to satisfy other needs or subsequent needs. And it includes 5 levels that allow an individual to feel fulfilled. It is often applied to the workplace as a means to determine how to more effectively motivate employees and how to make sure that their needs are met. Understanding this psychological concept can help you determine whether your needs are met in your workplace and how you can better meet the needs of your team. Because you have to remember that even though you are an employee, you are also management trainees, that in the future you may become a manager. In the future you may also have your own business and employ people. So you want to understand some of these things in order to have a productive work environment, motivate your employees, and just overall have a successful business. So the first one is the physiological, very basic. Employees need access to vital services and opportunities while at work to feel their more basic needs are being met. Steady income, they can buy food, the utilities are available to them, other essential needs that is about your life in general, but because you have this job, it provides for you so that you can fulfill your basic needs. Then we're going up the ladder now, safety. And this pertains to feeling emotionally safe and supported. You want to feel physically safe as well. If you're worried about losing your job due to layoffs or budget cuts, it is more challenging to achieve motivation to move to the next level in the hierarchy and perform at your highest level. So unsteady futures also will lead to decreased morale in the workplace if you don't feel safe. Also, if you don't feel physically safe. A lot of bullying happens in the workplace as well. We tend not to want to talk about it because we think that, or even recognize it because we think that bullying is just the aggression and the shouting. But a lot of the bullying in the workplace is very subtle. People kind of a little threatening just because they know that they have power over you and that kind of thing. So, safety in the workplace is not just your physical safety. Or even just, on a basic level, it's a lot more. Even sexual harassment is breaching your safety in the workplace. All right, so the next level now we're going up is the love and belonging level. If you don't feel a sense of belonging, you may not feel as engaged at work or as motivated to succeed. So when you feel like you belong and fit in within your workplace and your team, it is easier to feel motivated and to work hard and to achieve. The love and belonging is not anything deeply personal. It's not like you have to have personal relationships, but you want your relationships to be respectful. You want to just have good interpersonal relationships with people in the workplace. You want to be recognized for the work that you do. You don't want to be ignored for anything at all and that kind of thing. So that is a part of the love and belonging as it relates to the workplace. You work in a good team environment. Everybody kind of work well together. You have that love and belonging going on. And then we have esteem. As we go up the ladder again, and this is the belief that you are contributing to a higher goal and that the contributions you make are recognized. In the workplace, it is important to feel that you are growing, you are advancing, you're achieving results, and that those around you recognize those results. So this esteem now is also about simple things like you are given additional responsibility Sometimes it's more pay, sometimes it is more pay. The esteem is also leaving you to show initiative and not micromanaging you in the workplace. Some of these things, you know, gives you some amount of esteem because you feel good about your work and you're contributing and people believe in you and all kind of, you know those things. For me, part of esteem with my job as a lecturer is that I love to mark papers to see did my students learn what I taught them and that kind of thing. So a lot of my esteem comes from my interaction with the students and not necessarily my interaction with the institution, which is kind of weird, but that is it for me. The next one is self-actualization. This is a tricky one because self-actualization is going to be different for everybody. This means that you are maximizing your potential at work. A person ultimately wants to feel they are doing the best they can in their position, which helps them to feel motivated to continue on their career path and succeed. A self-actualized employee feels empowered and trusted, which encourages growth and engagement. And one of the keys to making sure this need is met is giving employees opportunities that allow them to succeed. It is not always going to be that you feel self-actualized at work because there are only so much positions in the hierarchy. As you go higher up, there are only so much positions. So most employees are always going to remain at the lower levels of the organization. But you can still feel actualized if you're working in a good position, you're getting decent pay, your contribution is being recognized, etc., and you feel like, all right, I can stay in this position for many years. I could possibly stay in this environment until I retire. That is, a self-actualization is going to be different for a lot of persons, but from the employer's standpoint, they need to create opportunities for you to feel self-actualized. Now, motivation and as it relates to motivation and job satisfaction, employers with low engagement rates often have higher turnover rates. People just leave, as well as issues with low morals and unhappy employees. So by investing in the overall happiness of its employees, a business can increase satisfaction while boosting engagement and motivation, which ultimately impacts productivity. It is important to assess whether you feel your needs are being met in your current position. Your needs are important and valuable, so keep them high on your list of priorities. You can also look for ways to make changes in your professional life and create a positive, engaging working atmosphere, because sometimes I feel like people think that things are outside of themselves and they look at the organization, or you may say that you work in a toxic environment. But are you contributing to the toxicity? You may want to look at that as well. Because sometimes everybody is complaining about the environment. Who is contributing to it? It may very well be you. So you want to look around, you want to reflect and look at yourself, and you also want to find ways that you can create a better work environment. Do something for your co-worker, help out your co-worker if they need to. Just that kind of thing will contribute to, motivation and job satisfaction. Now, the Hertzberg two-factor theory is simple, even though it can seem a little bit complex, but it is quite simple. So according to Hertzberg, there are some job factors that result in satisfaction, while there are other job factors that prevent dissatisfaction. And when we say we prevent dissatisfaction, is that it means that it is not actively promoting satisfaction, but because it is present, employees are less likely to be dissatisfied. So we call some of them hygiene factors, some of them motivation factors. And we see from this graphic that the hygiene factors can be relationship with your peers, company policies, physical workplace, working conditions, etc., etc. And those things just tend to be neutral. They're just there. So they can be good or bad. And then the motivation factors is the things that are deliberately done by your employers or the organization as they relate to these things to make sure that you are highly motivated and productive, etc. So the hygiene factors are those job factors which are essential for existence of motivation at the workplace. They do not lead to positive satisfaction for long term, but if these factors are absent, if these factors are non-existent in the workplace, then they lead to dissatisfaction. They are also called dissatisfiers or maintenance factors, as they are required to avoid dissatisfaction. These factors describe the job environment or scenario. Now, the hygiene factor symbolizes the physiological needs, which the individuals wanted and expected to be fulfilled. So we're talking about things like pay, the policies, the fringe benefits. You need a good work environment. You need to have good interpersonal relationships and job security and your status and that kind of thing, but they are pretty neutral. They're pretty neutral things, because it might just be like right in the middle there, and those things just there to prevent the dissatisfaction, and there is no action for employers take to motivate you. Those things are just there. Now, according to Hertzberg, now as it relates to the motivational factors, the hygiene factors cannot be regarded as motivators. The motivational factors yield positive satisfaction. These factors are inherent to work. These factors motivate employees to perform well. Now, these factors are called satisfiers, and these are factors involved in performing the job. And employees find these factors intrinsically rewarding. They symbolize the physiological needs that we need or perceive as an additional benefit. Now, I listed out some of them earlier about recognition, the sense of achievement, growth and promotional opportunities, giving you more responsibility. You find the work meaningful and you feel good about it. Those things definitely motivate you. They are not the basic, or what we would call the bare minimum. The hygiene factors are the bare minimum. When we go over into the motivational factors, these are what really counts. Now, the two-factor theory implies that the managers must stress upon guaranteeing the adequacy of the hygiene factors to avoid the dissatisfaction, and also the managers must make sure that the work is stimulating and rewarding so that employees are motivated to work and perform harder and better. So you cannot just do the basics of things. You have to actually take action to motivate your employees. All right, so now we're moving on to coaching and also counseling and mentoring. And we tend to use a lot of these things interchangeably, but they're different. They're really different, and we will look at that. But it is important to be aware of the distinct differences between these three approaches or disciplines. So let us talk first about coaching, and this is really about improving the performance, the skills, the goals, and an individual's potential in the workplace. It is an action-focused dialogue between a coach and a coachee, usually a direct report, with an emphasis on fostering skill development, self-discovery, and personal growth. Now, what does all of this mean? You're going to an environment and you have somebody to hold your hand and take you through, or even if you've worked in the same environment before, you're going to a new position. You have a superior, somebody that you report to, that holds your hand. And you don't mean that you'll go every day and be talking to them and writing down things. No, they show you the ins and outs and the nitty-gritty and just best practices of how this particular function is done, how you can succeed here. And a lot of times you go into a new organization and they just throw you into the wild, they just throw you into the deep sea, and you have to swim. And sometimes your direct report don't want to, and sometimes they are so burdened with their own job that they don't get to do it. So, but the coaching is super important. You're more likely to perform well in your job and have better job satisfaction if you went through a process of coaching. The mentoring now is different because it involves an experienced individual offering you guidance and sharing insights with a less experienced employee. Now, the mentorship discussion often focuses on the transfer of wisdom gained through experience and often focuses on career paths. navigating internal politics as a trusted sounding board, and learning from the knowledge and experience of the mentor, who is usually working in the same industry and occupation. Your mentor don't necessarily have to work in the same organization, and your mentor could be somebody that you have a conversation with every now and again, somebody that you look up to. They're not there to guide you in your day-to-day activities, but overall, especially how to navigate the corporate space, a mentor would do that most likely. And so we have counseling. Counseling now tend to be a more personal experience. You have issues, problems, etc. You go to counseling. Some organizations set up counseling for their employees, and they tend to focus on your mental and emotional well-being. And they use approaches such as supportive therapy and that kind of thing. They may go into your past. They want you to resolve anything you have from the past or any issues you're facing now. And not every organization do the counseling though. Some do. Some have in-house psychologists that come in maybe once a week and that kind of thing, but not all organizations go into the counseling. But it is still important to mention the counseling aspect. What is most common is the mentoring and the coaching. So why is coaching in the workplace important? It empowers individuals to unleash their personal potential. Coaching as a transformative practice goes beyond merely guiding employees. Coaching employees unleashes their latent potential by equipping them with tools and skills to navigate challenges successfully. Because sometimes some people just don't know that they have it in them, and the coaching is what makes them realize that, oh, I really can do this. It also fosters a culture of continuous learning. That is the ability to adapt and learn. Now we have a unit in this course, managing knowledge and learning, a really nice unit for you to see how learning is transferred from staff to staff, from generation to generation, and that kind of thing. And it has become a foundation of individual and organizational success in defining employee growth. Now, workplace coaching provides the structure to create and sustain a culture of continuous learning. And why is coaching in the workplace important? Strengthens leadership capabilities. Some of the benefits are that it improves employee performance, it improves employee engagement, it enhances problem solving, and it accelerates leadership development. And we will see here that we have this graphic that shows the benefits of coaching and how even the area where we have satisfied clients, because when things are going well in the organization, it transfers to your customers. Your customers feel satisfied. And we have some high numbers here that it increases work performance, it increases your self-confidence. Remember now that confidence is something that you build up over time. As you increase your ability, you learn how to do a particular thing, you become good at it, you become an expert, and that is what develops your self-confidence. It don't just drop out of the sky. Self-confidence is not something that you're born with or you wake up with, you build it over time. It also improves relationships, your communication skills, and that kind of thing. That is just all the benefits of coaching, and more organizations really should place more emphasis or importance on coaching their employees. And of course, here we see the return on investment, 86% return. That is excellent. It is very impressive. All right, so as management trainees, we have older persons in university, so some of you may already be managers, so you have to carve out time and space to coach your employees because the return on investment is great. All right, so the final section I'm going to move in now is personal effectiveness. I'm making good time, 24 minutes. Okay. Personal effectiveness in the workplace refers to an individual's ability to perform at their best by effectively managing their time, their skills, and energy to achieve optimal results in their job, including meeting your deadlines, staying organized, and consistently delivering high-quality work while adapting to challenges and maintaining a positive attitude. Essentially, it's about maximizing productivity and achieving goals within a professional setting. Organizations usually have their like 1 or 2 training sessions to do the personal effectiveness training, or the soft skills we also call them, because these things help you so much in the workplace. I spoke previously about the process of reflection. You want to look at what you're doing well, what you're not doing well, what you can improve, what you may need to delegate, and all of that. You may also want to look at whether you are the person that is contributing to the toxicity in the work environment. Because I think that some persons are blinded sometimes to their bad behaviors. So you want to be reflective. You want to exercise emotional intelligence, and this is your ability to regulate your own emotions. And don't just fly off the handle and just regulate other people's emotions. And you regulate other people's emotions by not flying off the handle. Because they say, grievous words, Lord God, I forgot to go. Grievous words stir up anger. I forgot how that Bible verse go. Anyway, then we have determination, self-confidence. I just spoke about that. You build that up over time. I bold time management because that we're going to discuss that. Then optimism. Stress management is a major one. Stress management is also life management. If you manage your life and make good decisions, the best decisions you can make, you will manage your stress. You don't take on too much things on yourself, etc. What can cause a lot of stress in the workplace though is if you have a heavy workload. Like some of the workload need to be split among other people and that kind of thing, that can cause a lot of stress. You're working late and all of that, but a lot of stress management is overall just managing your life. We can talk about persistence, self-motivation, then problem solving. Problem solving is a major one as well. You can develop your problem solving skills. And in this unit, we look at decision making, and we don't look at problem solving, but it really is a good set of skills for you to learn. You have a lot of concepts and theories and that kind of thing around problem solving. Growth and development, your communication skills, your organizational skills. All of these are personal effectiveness skills that you really need to master, especially if you want to climb the corporate ladder and be a really good and effective manager. All right, so let us look at the time management now. And we single out the time management because we know that a lot of people have issues with productivity and managing their time. A study was done in the US many years ago that showed that most people work 3 to 4 hours out of the 8-hour day. Like they just idle and waste time and talk to their co-workers, and they leave and go on the road, and then they extend their lunch hour and all of those things. Productivity is a major issue in the workplace, and it is driven by efficient time management. So in order to tackle critical tasks in an effective manner, time management is one of the most important soft skills an employee can have at their disposal. However, many people do not manage their time well. And what we mean by time management: you're allocating your time to tasks that are completed efficiently and productively, and you have a schedule for yourself. I personally always have my planner. I buy a planner at the beginning of every year, and I plan out my weeks, I plan out my months, and I have my personal vision board and that kind of thing. And like on a Sunday, I just look over what I have to do for the week. What can I do, reasonably do? How am I going to manage my time? I write down all the classes that I have, what my schedule is, if I have a meeting, and I keep my planner with me all the time because I'm not going to try and remember everything. And I don't keep everything in my phone. Yes, I will set some things in my phone, but no, I don't do that. I have a physical planner. I have a small one that can hold in my handbag. So the time management is a process involving careful planning and organization. So even in the event that deadlines are tight and the workload appears overwhelming, you're fully equipped with a process that will help you to get through it. And anything that you don't get to do today, you can put it to tomorrow and that kind of thing, because it's already on the list of things to do. So why is time management important in the workplace? it is less stressful when you manage your time. You are able to meet your deadlines, you increase your productivity, and you're more likely to put out a higher quality of work because you're not rushing. You're not trying to meet a deadline that you should have been working on from 2 weeks ago. But what happens when we have poor time management? Poor reputation. People know say you're unreliable, so they not ask you if you do anything, you're not gonna get no promotion, nothing. Increased stress, poor work-life balance because you're working late instead of you get up and go home. You miss your deadlines, you have to get more extension. You get resentment from colleagues because you're not a good co-worker. You will in turn have low self-esteem because you don't believe in yourself. And one of the things about even having high self-esteem is the practices that you engage in will develop your high self-esteem. A lot of people, every time somebody make a mistake or do something, everybody jump up, oh, them have low self-esteem, them have low self-esteem. But it's not something that just drop out of the sky. Just like the self-confidence is something that you build over time. When you keep promises to yourself, when you are productive, when you're not just wasting away and that kind of thing, and you make good decisions, that is how you build your self-esteem. And also, poor time management just let you fall into bad habits. So the benefits of good time management: higher self-esteem, less procrastination, improved work-life balance, career growth and development. And I wish I could talk a lot more about procrastination, but I cannot do that right now. But all of us suffer from procrastination. You just have to decide that a good percentage of the time you're going to do what you need to do, because all of us suffer from procrastination. Everybody. So to improve your time management, you want to write down your tasks, limit your distraction, monitor your activities, delegate, avoid multitasking, make room for regular breaks. This does not mean that you're always working. It means that you structure yourself, your tasks, your activities in such a way that you can breathe. You can work hard and be productive, but you can breathe at the same time. So some of the strategies, you want to order tasks based on importance and mark them off as they are completed. You want to use 60 to 90 minute focus blocks and maybe take a 10-15 minute break. That works for a lot of people. For me personally, I prefer to work in like 2-3 hour blocks. I will just work consistently for 3 hours. As I was saying in the lecture on Wednesday, when I'm marking papers, I do like a 9 to 12 and I do a 1 to 4. So that is why students always say, Miss, you send back your grades so fast. So you not have to wait until the end of the semester to get your grades. After exam, if the exam is Monday, I will send you your grades by Friday. Even though I'm marking papers for different courses, because I work in time blocks and I dedicate the time to make sure that my students get back their grades. If you want to query something, you can text me and say, Miss, what this and that, we can go back and check, because I have put a wrong grade on a paper before and go back and check and realize that, all right, I need to correct this because I'm not above correction. So I prefer to work and just be productive and get it out of the way so that I free up my Saturday so that I can go binge watch something on Netflix. So it is a part of managing your time is that you put in the leisure activities as well. You don't have to be stringent and all of that to be productive. And you don't have to be tired all the time. And then finally, we're going to be looking at this matrix. It is called the time management matrix. And I suppose you would have seen it before. So what it is on a spectrum of what is important or not important, what is urgent and what is not urgent. And in this urgent section, you want to stay out of it. You're going to end up in it sometimes because life sometimes. You have a crisis, you have a pressing problem and that kind of thing, and you have to deal with it now, and we call that firefighting. But you see, when you're there, so you stress out. You not think well, you're not thinking clearly, you want to avoid it. You're going to be there sometime, but avoid it. 2, this is where you want to spend most of your time. That's why it is a big green flag. Is prevention, is capability improvement, your relationship building, you're recognizing new opportunities. Most importantly, you are planning. You're planning your schedule and when you're going to execute these things. You're also planning out your recreation. You're planning to take the break. Then 3 is where you have your distraction. We're not saying that you're not going to have any distraction at all, but these are just interruptions, some phone calls, emails, some reports, meetings. A lot of meetings are waste of time, and all of these things that are just distractions and will take 2-3 hours out of your day if you're not careful. And then these are just just wasting time. and you dip on social media, and you do other activities where you don't need to do during your work day. Because you can waste time sometimes. As I can sit around for a day and do absolutely nothing. But it is because I did my important things already. You understand? So you want to stay in this quadrant. And you can always go and read up more about the time management matrix. And just for yourself, you can read your little self-help books. Those are the things that helped me in earlier years. I read a lot of self-help books about just productivity and compounding my actions so that you can be successful over time. I also read a lot about books. I also read quite a few books about money, because money is important. I'm actually, right after this lecture, going to at 10:30, I'm going into an investment session because I want to build up my investment portfolio. And you have to build up yourself over time. You read, you pay attention to things, and you just have a better life overall. You have good work life, you have a better personal life overall by just managing your life. All right, so this ends the unit on human relations. Next week, we're going to be looking at managing teams. It's a unit that I wanted to remove from the course, but I couldn't. It was objected, and we just have to go through it. It's a nice topic, I like the topic. I just feel like it is repetitive because you did it in Intro to Management, you do it in OB, maybe another course here or there, you look at teams, and I feel like we don't need to go over everything so many times. All right, so I'm going to upload the recording on YouTube and send it to the WhatsApp chat. And I hope I don't have to do this again and you take sort out them things and I can record directly into Moodle.